this is Sandra Tiedemann. Welcome again to Lee Street Beat. We are here to disseminate, educate, and illuminate the truth. And welcome back to another episode. How you doing, T?
I'm doing good, Sandra. How about yourself?
You know what? I'm doing pretty good today. Thank you. So today we are going to continue talking about Black history. It's still February. And so, T, we were really both inspired by the Valentine's Day story that Barack and Michelle Obama gave us this year. That was kind of nice, wasn't it?
Yeah, a true African-American couple that loves each other. If you look at, she got his back and he got hers. You know, you don't see that. And people don't want to talk about the goodness and the wholesomeness of love in the Black family. And I think they're a good example and role models for people who are married young and old. So yes, I'm very proud of Barack and Michelle that their marriage is doing
26 years, man.
26 years. You know, I got a little bit more on them, but it's but you know, it's a matter of respect, and they're not fighting each other. You know, they're fighting for one another, which makes a big difference.
Yeah, Barack put out a statement saying, "Happy Valentine's Day to an extraordinary, smart, beautiful, funny, one and only at Michelle Obama." He captured a photo of Michelle breaking it down. It's true that she gets down to Motown. So
I thought that was cute the way he made that go. You know, she gets down to Motown. Yeah, well, you know, yeah, I bet you know she can throw down
too. Down to Motown. Uh-huh. I said we all used to get down to Motown.
Yeah, that's in our youth before all this gray came.
You put it all right. You put it all right now. I think we'll still try to get down to it. You know.
Yeah. Hey, you got to get some Advil so I can get back up.
Oh, you can't get down too low.
Okay. And so what else we got besides Barack and Michelle? Tell us.
Well, you know what, T.I., I was really inspired by the little-known tale of the only African-American automaker, Patterson Greenfield. He only built cars from 1915 to 1918, but he found time to innovate a door design that's, you know, here today. He's early 20th century automaker. He was headquartered in Greenfield, Ohio, a small town roughly between Columbus and Cincinnati. They started out with, you know, doing horse carriages and you know, kind of went on from there. There was a national census in 1890 that said that the percentage of Black population that was involved in manufacturing was identified as 1/100%. And that the majority of those were into Black cosmetics and cigars. I thought that was pretty interesting about the cigars. But yeah, he was born into slavery in Virginia. And but in 1850, the census says that his family moved to southwestern Ohio in the 1840s. He originally started out a carriage business with a white man, and 20 years later, he bought him out and continued the success of C.R. Patterson and Son Company and changed the name. They prospered, and they went on and got the patent for the sliding doors for the Stormy buggy. So, you know, just like anything, the elder statesman passed, and the kids kind of took over. And also in September 1915, still operating under C.R. Patterson, the company debuted the Patterson Greenfield automobile, offering a closed touring convertible top roadster model. And they also used a combination of off-the-shelf and custom-built components. Eventually, they went into making school buses, and the vehicles sold between $685 and $850. And at the end of the day, you know, it's just a great story to see that there was just a few years, but that's some really great Black history for Black History Month. And they also had commercial vehicles and carriages, included a rural mail delivery buggy, and it allowed the driver to sit inside while urging the horses with a remote controlled operated whip. So I just thought that was awesome, man.
A remote control operated whip.
automated whip. Yeah. So, so that's what he brought to the table. And then
Yeah, that's something I never imagined, operated whip. Good thing he did after slavery, because I'm just gonna tell you, remote control whip, out there in the field with somebody cotton, that hey, you get beat, literally get beat to death with it.
Okay, they could just sit in the big house and beat you out in the fields.
Yeah,
that's horrible.
Yeah. And speaking of modern day things, history was made at this past Daytona 500. Two young ladies, one black, one white, the African American woman her name is Brianna Daniels, and there was Brina O'Leary. They were tire changers for NASCAR Daytona 500. And so they both are making history, one as the first black woman to do it, and I guess together as the first two women to be changing tires at a major NASCAR events, So hats off to Brianna Daniels and Brianna O'Leary. So I like
that's one heck of a job, T. I mean, you see how fast that those people got to go to try to get those cars back on the road. God bless them, man. I mean, that is some serious history for females to be involved in that, bro. I have never changed a tire in my life, so definitely hats off to them.
Yeah. And then, well, now we have some also, speaking about Barack Obama, the NBA is doing something overseas, I believe in Africa. And and they have contacted him to do a hands-on role. I'm assuming that he'll be a commissioner or a major investor in this team. They're gonna launch a 12-league team. So Barack will have a hands-on, and I think he's an excellent person because he has management skills. I mean, he's managed the United States of America for 8 years, unlike the current occupant in the White House, who we don't know where we are with him. This happens also to be the first collaboration with the NBA and FIBA to manage pro basketball outside the United States and Canada. So hats off to Brock. We pretty soon we might be calling him Mr. President and Commissioner. And I know he's gonna give him some free game tickets. I was gonna say see Chicago Bulls, but he'll probably want to see the Lakers and the Golden State Warriors. When you're a commissioner, you can choose what teams you really want to see.
Absolutely. Well, I also came across a few great examples of Black excellence. So there's congratulations going out to Andrea Lewis for being the first Black female pilot in the Georgia Air National Guard. Also there at home, they renamed a street after Ida B. Wells. So what was the original name of that Ida B. Wells street, team?
Congress Parkway.
Congress Parkway. So that's great. They renamed that street for her. Also, AT&T's Kayla White broke the world record for the fastest indoor 200 meter. You know what? That's pretty fast. And Sherry Beasley became the first Black woman to be Chief Justice of North Carolina Supreme Court. And Dr. Nadine.
They're gonna need her in North Carolina with that voter thing going on.
You know what? That's a mess in there, right? I mean, they were counting votes before the election. So, you know what? I'm hoping that all well ends well there. And Dr. Nadine Burke Harris also was sworn in as California's first Surgeon General. And Gabrielle Union, last but not least, is going to co-star and produce the film adaptation of Coffee Will Make You Black, which, you know what? I mean, it kind of reminded me a little bit of that story, T, that we were talking about where the white couple had a baby and the baby came out black, and she convinced the husband
drinking too much coffee. Drinking too much coffee.
He drank a lot of coffee.
Yeah.
And he went with it.
Yeah. Well, blessing his heart, he loved his wife. He never thought that she might cheat on him. But I will say, because one of my favorite shows is Paternity Court, and I did see two very dark-skinned people, African Americans, come out with this looking like white baby. So
it happens.
Yeah, it happens.
It happens. I mean, it's about genes and hereditary and genetics, and so oftentimes, it may not look like, your baby may not look like what you think it looked like. But for him to, believe his wife on that, yeah, he need to get one of them packs 23andMe. He'll find out soon.
Well, that's what
It
it
ain't
is.
got nothing to do with coffee.
That's not being kind to people. They find out all sorts of things. Your daddy ain't your daddy. Your mama ain't your mama. Your sister and brothers ain't your siblings. So I don't know what to tell you. Sometimes if the family tree is going good, leave it alone. Don't dig no further. I know they say ignorance is bliss and knowledge is the key, but some things are left to be better left unsaid.
Well,
There's a reason
I
for
think
that.
most people go into it thinking that, hey, you know what? I got this kid, this is going to be fun. I'm going to find out, about my heritage. I didn't know about, my great-great-grandfather. I didn't know about my great-great-grandmother. And then they open up Pandora's box.
And once she's open, there's no closing her. Because then all of a sudden there's always going to be more questions than there are answers.
Yeah.
Well,
sometimes I hope that, people, are pleasantly surprised about their heritage, but oftentimes, it does, bring up some crazy stuff. And, speaking about crazy stuff, we got this this a little bit disturbing story about C.L. Franklin, Aretha Franklin's dad. I didn't know this, but they're asking, is it true that a 12-year-old in his congregant, he impregnated a 12-year-old congregant in his tender as being a reverend? And they also kind of allude to the fact that Aretha's firstborn might be his child, and that she's never come out and said the father of her two first children. And you know what? This is kind of scandalous. But the one thing that really messed me up is that it says, yes, he impregnated a 12-year-old girl in his Memphis congregation. And as a result, he and his family were run out of town and they settled in Detroit. He was also a kingpin with connections to Miami. He was shot because of it, and he never recovered. So you know what? All of this is alleged. And it's all a little bit disparaging. Aretha, God bless her, she's still the queen of soul. That kind of information coming out about her dad is rather sad. But nevertheless, she seemed to have persevered,
Well, it seems to be a lot of sexual abuse in the church. And so, well, I mean, what can you do? It's there. It's there in the Catholic Church. Is there in the Protestant church. You got priests and boys, and now they're talking about these young girls are being abused by priests. And then you would have these Baptist ministers for the longest has been abusing young people in the choir, members of the congregate. So,
you know what I read too, and it's gotten a little press, but I think that more victims are coming out, is that nuns have been now credibly accused of sexually molesting other young girls. I went to a Catholic school. You went to Catholic school. I mean, am I surprised that nuns would be accused of sexually abusing girls? I am not. There's also, a big controversy with the priests sexually abusing nuns. And there's also controversy with the laws that they have within the Catholic Church regarding how they treat priests who have children outside of their jobs. So it's a lot of craziness going on. We got to find some place to pray. I don't know. That's all I can say. We got to find some place to pray. So listen, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about R. Kelly and Jussie Smollett and all of the controversy that's swirling around this alleged attack that he had in Chicago.
Hey, welcome back to Lee Street Beat. Where we were leaving off at, we're talking about R. Kelly again. Michael Avenatti has found not one, but two tapes of R. Kelly doing some more disgusting things with a minor. And there's another sexual allegation right now here in Chicago. They're having a grand jury look at that. So he don't know when to leave well alone. I mean, he beat the first one. It doesn't look like he's going to beat the second one, because right now public opinion is not on the side of a pedophile.
No, it's unfortunate. But I remember watching the docu-series, and they were saying that R. Kelly himself was beside himself, that he could not stop taping him, doing these illegal acts. And you know what? It's caught up with them. They've given the immunity, and put a shout out to people who had any information regarding R. Kelly. And now people have come out. They got these VHS tapes, and you know what? Let's just watch the process. Unlike a lot of different issues that are going on, I do believe R. Kelly is in a lot of trouble, and I do believe that it's gonna catch up with him.
Yeah, it's caught up with them. You know what? When you do wrong and you abuse people, it's going to catch up with you. You thinking that you're some kind of master pimp with a harem and brainwash these women, these young women,
They're not women. A lot of these are just teenagers, really.
yeah, they're teenagers, and then talking about call me daddy, and these girls is well under age. If they're under the age of 17, you're in trouble. That's the bottom line. You're going to jail, and you're going to go to jail for a long time. And the royalties from your music, somebody's going to buy it, and they're going to take that money and they're going to pay them victims. Yeah. You're done. So we got Jussie Smollett. Looks like he's paid off 2 African brothers to stage this fake assault on him. Jussie's in trouble. Yeah. First off, why did he do it? I mean, that's the question. Why did he do it? People said he did it for attention.
Well, they said that there was a letter that was sent to the Empire set, and they said that the letter was threatening him. But for some reason, they have found in the African's home the magazine, and that's these letters were cut out of, and they've also found a receipt for the rope that was bought. This is really sad, because people who come out as victims, people who come out as gay and lesbian victims, they're all going to be doubted now when you got somebody who is, this high caliber of a person coming out and possibly allegedly staged this. Yeah, the grand jury is being convened for him. And I've also heard, too, that they've cut his scenes out and cut him in half for Empire, that he was supposed to be in 9 scenes. Now they're only going to put him in 5. This could easily derail his career for a little while.
Yeah, maybe permanently if he goes to jail.
And they say it could be up to 1 to 2 years.
2 years in jail in Illinois, that ain't no picnic. I'm telling you, Stateville ain't no picnic. They might send him to Vienna, maybe one of these low minimum security prisons. The question is why? There was no need to do it. You hurt your own reputation. You hurt the LGBT cause. There's enough racism, and then you feed into you fuel the fire of these bigots like Donald Trump and his son, and say, look, they made it up. So every time now somebody's getting accused, they're gonna say, refer to Jussie. Look how he made that up, and that's all ties into the Me Too movement, because once you get one person making a false accusation, they tar the whole community with that false accusation.
Well, supposedly when the letter was sent, he staged this because he didn't think that the studio was taking the letter seriously. But you know what? He supposedly paid these 2 brothers $3,500, sent them to Africa. When they came back, they was gonna give them another $500. One of them has been featured in Empire as an extra. This is just another black eye on him. Apparently, back in 2000, I think it was 2007, he was pulled over, and he, instead of giving the police his real name, he gave his brother's name. So, right. Unfortunately,
he has a history of making up identification and saying things that aren't true. You know what? He's in trouble. I'm just going to say he's in trouble. The brothers are ready to testify in the grand jury. They said they got a call. The state's attorney got a call, and they called off the grand jury. So I guess they're going to try to cut some deal, keep it quiet and hush. That's what happens when you got a publicist that comes in there and they're doing things. And who knows, this might be something schemed up by his publicist, because somebody got to fall on that sword for him to get up. So, it's bad. Speaking of, let's kind of move on from that. We have Heather Nanner, who was supposed to be Trump's pick for the UN.
Nanny
She,
gate.
yeah, she withdrew because she has nanny problems. She says she don't got nobody to take care of kids. But the fact is, the nanny that she had was she had a visa, but she didn't have a visa to work. And so when they do the Senate background and start looking at get these people confirmed, they're gonna look into her. And you know the Democrats is on them. They already know. And to be honest with you, she was a Fox News commentator. Trump liked her because she was pretty. She had blonde hair. She really wasn't qualified for the job. She didn't have, experience as a diplomat. So he's looking elsewhere. And then we have this young lady from Britain who fled. She went to ISIS. She's had a baby, and now she wants to go back to Britain. Her name is Shamima Begum, and
they said no.
Yeah, they said no. They said no.
Now she's trying to come here.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, they're gonna say no to that too. The baby can come, but not you. That's what it's gonna be. The baby can come, but not you. And in fact, Britain is stripping her of her citizenship. So she wasn't even born in Britain. And then she was naturalized, and then you go to ISIS, you have a baby by an ISIS fighter, and then you're talking about I was young. And you know what? She was young, 18, 19. And she's not the only girl. There's also a young lady from Alabama who has the same problem. She's in a refugee camp in Syria. She wants to come back. Well, you know what? These young girls, they're going off to ISIS and they think it's a romantic thing and it's like Lawrence of Arabia, but this is real. This is really real. So I don't know what to tell them other than that they need to think a little serious. So if you know anybody's out there that's doing something like that crazy, stop them. Stop them from their own good. And then, of course, we got two stores. Well, one store. I shouldn't say two stores. We got Payless stores going out of business. They filed bankruptcy. They said the gift card, the Payless gift card, is going to be good till the 16th of March. So go get your Payless shoes now. Star Jones, I know you got plenty of Payless, so you need to go over there.
Yeah, I will admit, I'm good on shoes.
Don't you want those knockoff the Payless has? Like I remember my grandson, we went to Payless and he said, hey, I got some Shaqs. This was like a knockoff of Air Jordan. And he was proud, man. They clowned him. They clowned him. He talking about he got his Shaqs. Because I didn't want to go buy him no Air Jordans. But after they clowned him, I had to actually get him a pair of Air Jordans.
I will admit, I never was really a Payless person, but I did have a friend who used to go there, and I ended up with a pair of Airwalk gym shoes. To be quite frank, I did like them; they were kind of cute. But no, that's kind of not where I shop at. So, but those who do, hey, listen, they're gonna have a great sale. I mean, and they shut these stores down, pretty fast. So, needless to say, if that's something that
it's a small selection to pick from. Go over there. If you got big feet, size 12, you better get there now because them shoes.
They got them wide shoes for you.
Yes, they do. I remember when even when my daughter when she was young, we said she would need some shoes and something look like patent leather. Go to Payless. If
it's gonna be a one-time deal,
wear it one day. Just here it is. Go ahead, wear it.
You just gotta wear it for the church plate, and let's just go get these from
right.
Payless.
And Donald Trump is talking about we got a national emergency. One of the national emergencies we have is student debt is at $166 billion. He needs to declare a national emergency on that and try to help these people with student debt. But of course, Betsy DeVos, she's taking all that money because of student loans, and it's just sad. The things that are really national emergency, he doesn't want to address, but he just want to do these made up things.
Well, recently there's been so much controversy coming out of Washington. Matt Whitaker is being called back for, apparently not telling the truth about Trump calling him up and asking him if he could install his guy to try to handle what's going on out there in New York with the case with Michael Cohen. There has just been so many lies that continue to come out with the Trump administration. they came out about Mike Flynn, that they made up a lie about how he was supposedly let go. He actually just walked away. They never really did fire him. Sean Spicer came out and lied and just said that, you know what, he was let go because he didn't tell the truth to Mike Pence. It's just scathing how this administration conducts itself. We continue to just be bombarded with all of the different things that come out, and we're beyond shock now. You know,
Donald Trump has been what we call a bold-faced liar for a number of not years but decades. Yeah. So that's it. When you got a man that lies, cheats, and steals, and that's the core of him, don't expect anything good to come from him. I listened to Matt Whitaker, and when they asked the question about that, him and replacing the New York, because they asked that I thought that was kind of odd the way they asked about the.
They asked it 2 or 3 different ways too.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. And each time he said he wasn't going to talk about the conversation he had with the president. So he wasn't under subpoena, so he didn't have to talk. So when they subpoena him, I'm quite sure they'll go behind closed doors, and he's gonna squeal like a greased pig. That's what he's gonna do.
Yeah. So there's a new book out that's talking about how the president conducted himself, you know, with regards to Russia, and he has been tweeting. You know, they said that he spent like 44% of his time the last few days, you know, tweeting about this. You know, you can't make this stuff up. How can a president spend so much time on everything except what he's supposed to be doing for this country?
Easy. You know, when you're incompetent, that's what incompetent people do. They sit there, they look at the TV, he hollers at the TV, hey, give me that person on there. They look good if she goes out and says it. Also, you know, Bob Mueller brought Sarah Sanders in. I ain't heard her pop her face up anywhere. I don't know what Bob asked her, but she don't got quiet. She was hanging out low before, but now she's like, nobody even want to mention her name.
Yeah, well, you know, we had talked about the fact that supposedly a couple of months ago she really wanted to leave the administration, but she was unable to leave the administration because she can't find another job. As you know, a lot of the Trump appointees and people in his administration, they find a hard time unless they go to try to, you know, be on his re-election committee. So anyway, I'm so glad that we covered a lot of these topics. Well, we got some good news. We got some news that's not so great, but we'll continue to follow a lot of these stories, especially with Jussie Smollett. That's just something that's continuing to evolve, and you know, it's another day.
Yeah, it's another day, and I guess Trump feels it's better to rule in hell than serve in heaven. So that's his motto. So that's what you get when you get somebody like him. Yeah, it's okay. Well, anyway, this is T the Man and Sandra Tucker. We'll give you another next week, another thing from Lee Street Beat. Till next week, we'll see you. Okay, bye-bye.